Good evening, how do you do? And you're just in time for TV 47 and News TV 47 weekend. Rather, it is the 25th day of the month of July 2021. We have a lot lined up for you, but first things first, a look at our top stories tonight. Tonight, Deputy President William Ruto and ANC boss Musalia Mudavadi intensify their vote hunting in Nyandarua County.
Tangu mambo ya NASA iingie kwa serikali yetu, chama ya Jubilee imesambaratika.
But will that NASA survive the current storms? Wiper is meeting tomorrow to formalize their divorce with NASA. Also tonight,
nobody can postpone the elections, including President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Proposal to postpone next year's election is getting hotter.
I will defend the constitution of this Kenya. Now our constitution clearly states how elections should be conducted in this country.
Is Kenya ready to postpone next year's elections? Plus, concerns raised over rising cases of human malnutrition in Baringo County. Welcome once again. My name is Grace Josephine and I'm not alone. Many Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. Now, a plot to postpone next year's general election continues to raise a heated debate across the country. A section of MPs now want Parliament to pass a law that will allow the country to delay the polls, as Paul Kirobi now reports.
A section of lawmakers drawn from Mount Kenya region have supported the plot to postpone next year's general election. A group of MPs are plotting to postpone next year's general election and are preparing to petition the High Court to postpone the election date to give the IEBC adequate time to conduct boundary delimitation.
According to the current constitution, those constituencies should not field a candidate in 2022. And that's what is worrying us, those who are affected. I'm one of them. And we are coming together to discuss how we'll be able, either through IEBC, regazetting them and saying, now we can continue.
The MP says their move is meant to avert a constitutional crisis by going into an election with electoral units that are illegal. But former Majority Leader Aden Duale has opposed calls to postpone the August 2022 polls, noting that the Kenyan Constitution under Article 259 is clear on election dates.
If you are not prepared, particularly to face the candidature of William Samoei Ruto, do not look for an excuse. Nobody can postpone the elections, including President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Duale's sentiments come just days after the African Court on Human Rights in Arusha gave countries the green light to postpone elections if they are hard pressed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The court, however, ruled that any government that wants to postpone elections must do so using the laws in its country. This means that if a country's laws does not provide for postponement, lawmakers must come up with regulations to define and govern the process.
Kenya cannot postpone an election because a court sitting in Arusha said it is okay to postpone an election. Kenya can only postpone an election under circumstances where it is demonstrable to the Kenyan public and advice from health professionals that we cannot sustain our war against COVID.
I will defend the constitution of this Kenya. Now our constitution clearly states how elections should be conducted in this country. Mimi nitauliza wao waangalie, waambie wananchi vile waliaga na wakaapa ya kwamba watalinda hiyo katiba. Waendelee hivyo hivyo.
The Independent Electoral Boundary Commission IEBC is already preparing for the 2022 elections. Paul Kirobi, TV 47, Nairobi.
Still on matters politics, Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi has called on Kenyans to embrace peace as the country heads to the 2022 general election. Mudavadi says the country should not be subjected to the events of 2007 post-election violence, where many Kenyans were killed, maimed, and thousands rendered homeless. The presidential hopeful says no Kenyan should be victimized for exercising the democratic right to elect a leader of their choice. Mudavadi, while winding up his 2-day tour in Nyandarua County, reached out to the Nyandarua people to support his campaign message of building the economy that works for all and not subjecting Kenyans to a culture of handouts. If elected president, Mudavadi promised to lower taxes and rejuvenate the economy facing the mountain.
Ukipata ajali ya gari, labda umeanguka kwa bodaboda ama umeanguka kwa gari ya kawaida ama matatu, na upelekwe kwa hospitali kubwa ambayo Governor Kimemi amejenga hapa, na daktari akupime na aone kwamba unahitaji damu. Kwa sababu mimi ni Mluya, kweli nitaambia daktari, kabla hujanipatia damu ili nipone, nataka nijue ni damu ya Mluya ama ni ya Mkikuyu ama ni ya Mkamba. Si damu ni damu. Ukienda kwa hospitali, hakuna kiraka ya ukabila kwa damu. Dhakame ni dhakame.
Na nitaeta marafiki wengine na wengi ambao wanapenda nchi yetu. Huyu rafiki yetu Musalia ndiye alisimamia kabila letu na jamii yetu na jamii zingine mingi, iwe ni Wakikuyu, Waluya, Wakamba, Wakisii, Wajaluo, Rift Valley, wakati kukuwa na shida kubwa ya post election violence. Tutakushikilia, tumetoka mbali. Mheshimiwa Masharia, tumetoka mbali, tuko mbali na tunaenda mbali na wewe, na mimi nataka kukuombea baraka za Mwenyezi Mungu.
Njia kusaidia uchumi na wafanyabiashara na watu wadogo ni ile Musalia anasema. Kwanza tuache ufisadi, tuache kuiba. Ya pili, tupunguze ushuru. Reduce the tax, it is too high. Hata gasi imepanda na 300. Akina mama si mnajua mnatumia gasi. Punguza hiyo tax, utaokota zaidi mingi kwa Wakenya. Alafu punguza budget. Hatuhitaji budget kubwa hivyo, kidogo. That is the real rejuvenation of the economy.
Moving on, the National Executive Council of Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Party is set to meet tomorrow to discuss the party's exit from the NASA coalition. NASA allies have accused former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's ODM of starving NASA affiliate parties. But even as Musyoka joins Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula and ANC's Musalia Mudavadi in the new One Kenya alliance, pundits argue that both the principles of the new alliance and Odinga cannot do without each other in the race to State House next year, as calls for unity among the ex-NASA principals continue. And as Musa Salana reports, the Wetangula says Odinga is welcome to One Kenya alliance, but will not have it easy in leading the alliance to the general polls in August next year.
With every challenge, they say, comes an opportunity, and the messy fallout within the NASA coalition of alleged mistrust on the sharing of the coalition funds has brought to life the One Kenya alliance, with the NASA affiliate parties accusing the Orange Democratic Movement ODM of starving its coalition allies.
The money that all these my people here voted for Raila Odinga as president, those votes have been translated into money under the Constitution. That money is being channeled through ODM, and ODM has a duty, both moral and legal, to account to us as partners to give us our share.
Ningewaomba warudi pamoja vile walikuwako wakifanya kazi kwa NASA, na wakuje waungane na Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
This thing, let me just tell you, this thing, the train has left the station. On matters NASA, I think if that's what he wants to do, then Raila really has got to look for partners.
The National Executive Council of the last of the good old NASA members, the Wiper movement, is scheduled to meet on Monday to deliberate on the party's position on the NASA fallout. According to Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua, the Kalonzo Musyoka-led party is officially set to join Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya and Musalia Mudavadi's ANC in the new alliance. But their ODM compadres claim the new alliance is an extension of NASA.
And a collegiate decision has been taken by the other affiliates of NASA, Wiper, ANC and Ford Kenya, to exit the coalition and form a fresh coalition based on a principle of faithfulness and trust to form the next government.
Tulikuwa na muungano wa CORD ambaye ilikuwa 2013, tulikuwa na muungano na NASA 2017, kwa hiyo tutaweza kuwa na muungano na jina ingine tofauti 2022. Na ndio ninasema jina si kitu ya maana. Jina kitu ya maana ni sisi tushikane ndio tuweze kushinda uchaguzi na kuunda serikali.
Having backed ODM leader Raila Odinga's presidency at least twice each, all the One Kenya Alliance core principles are gunning for the top seat. But according to pundits, neither the new alliance nor Odinga can risk competing against Deputy President William Ruto, whose UDA win in the Kiambaa mini poll is said to have proven his influence in the vote-rich mountain.
He can join us. The only thing is that we don't want anybody to join us with a preconceived idea that he's the automatic leader of the alliance.
Exactly.
Because we have formed the alliance and the steps, structures and processes of arriving at a candidate are in place. So you come in as one among equals and work together.
Bila hiyo siasa yao wasahau kiti ya 2022. Waungane kwa haraka, wakubaliane kwa haraka, wasikizane kwa haraka. Kwa sababu bila hiyo itakuwa ni changamoto na kwenda 2022 tutapatia nafasi kuu Ruto kushinda uchaguzi ambao utakuwa kwa mwaka ujao.
However, pundits have ruled out the possibility of Odinga joining hands with his allies come fours, presenting a third force in the 2022 lineup.
When you seem to be able to pull people together, there's a tendency and a perception for you to be perceived as the better option and the leader capable of pulling people because they talk about now unity, when in real sense, the unity is just among them.
And we are building a formidable force that will take the leadership of this country.
Musa Salah, TV 47.
Elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto and his allies have rubbished the reunion of the NASA coalition, citing that NASA has impeded the government's Big Four agenda. Ruto spoke in Nyandarua County, insisting that the ruling Jubilee Party is already dead. Willie Dennis Njiru with that story.
The Mount Kenya region continues to play the 2022 brightest presidential hopefuls continue to eye the territory following its rich voting bloc. Accompanied by a contingent of his allies, Deputy President William Ruto has told off the ODM party leader Raila Odinga to keep off his lane, accusing him of having no agenda for the country.
Mimi nataka niwaambie viongozi wa NASA, kwanza nyinyi mumetuletea hasara nyingi sana. Kwa sababu tangu mambo ya NASA iingie kwa serikali yetu, chama ya Jubilee imesambaratika. Program yetu ya Big Four imekwama. Mambo sasa wanatuambia ati tubadilishe katiba ndio wapate vyeo na wagawane mamlaka.
Tumekuwa na mawaziri zaidi ya nusu kwa hii serikali kutoka Mlima Kenya. Na hii serikali ndio ikiwa na mtu wetu, ikiwa na mawaziri wetu, imefanya sisi watu wa Mount Kenya kuwa fukara.
Ruto further blasphemed opposition's cut hooping to his wheelbarrow narrative, citing their author of the chronicles were well orchestrated towards the bottom-up approach and have been haunting to muzzle out the presidential ambitions.
Muache kukwama kuangalia wheelbarrow. Nyuma ya wheelbarrow kuna economic model inaitwa bottom up, ambayo itawezesha mwananchi mwenye hana kazi apate kazi, mwenye hana biashara apate biashara, yule wa kilimo apate mapato zaidi, na Kenya iweze kwenda mbele.
DP Ruto further castigating the opposition for the failures in the current regime attributed by the self-centered approach on sharing power.
Walikuja wakasambaratisha mpango wa Big Four, wakabadilisha ile priorities ya chama yetu na serikali yetu. Ati sasa wanasema ati kazi yetu ni kubadilisha katiba ndio wapate vyeo na mamlaka, na wanatuletea mambo ya rege.
Na ninataka yule mtu wa kitendawili aambiwe kwamba hana nguvu na mamlaka ya kufufua rege.
Ile imenifurahisha leo ni kuona Kiaraho hapa, kwa sababu yeye ndiye alikuwa anatuwinda.
Mimi nataka kumuuliza rais wangu ambaye nampenda, mambo ya kujua nani atakuwa rais baada yako sio shughuli yako. Sawa sawa? Si nyinyi ndio mtaamua. Sasa yeye anatumiwa vibaya, anapewa stress ati atavutie rais, atavutie Raila urais.
The leader's father dismissed a meeting that was held in Meru Saturday to discuss the Mount Kenya Unity Quest.
Ati wanasema wanauganisha mlima. Sisi tunawaambia wakuje, lakini Mount Kenya region tushauganika kitambo. Wao wamechelewa kidogo. Wakati watu wetu walikuwa wanachomewa vitu zao, tulikuja na sauti moja na tukauganisha watu wetu.
Wasije kutuambia maneno ya mlima Kenya, kwa sababu mlima Kenya we are united behind the Hasra nation.
Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya tuna support William Ruto, kwani ameangazia zile mashida tuko nazo sisi watu wa Mount Kenya.
Mahasla wakiunda serikali pia kutakuwa na pesa ingine ya kusaidia wale watu ambao hawana kazi. Tunashikana, uwe Mkisii, uwe Mkikuyu, uwe Mkalenjin.
The battalion of leaders drawn from Western, Rift Valley and Mount Kenya regions who accompanied Ruto affirmed their unequivocal support come next year.
Sisi tunajua the fifth president of this country in 2022 ni William Samoei Ruto.
Tutasimama na William Samoei Ruto.
Kama wewe ni mwanaume na unataka urais wa Kenya, unatafuta mwenzako kufanya nini? Mwanaume mwenzako unataka wa nini?
Mimi nataka mgeni akikuja hapa Nyandarua, mwambie ashike ile kitu ama kazi amefanya hapa Nyandarua. Wewe ukikuja utuoneshe barabara, utuoneshe hospitali.
Murio!
For TV47, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Ndagwa na nimesimama.
Wewe crocodile ile zatokea juu. Hiyo sijakula hata unataka nikufe kabla ni. I don't like it. I don't. Miss Kai na hipo ikitokelezea ivuruche simu yangu. No, ni sawa. Those who know me will tell you I'm not a lover of large volumes of water. But for you, we roam the different parts of the country and beyond just to make sure that we bring you the experience. We educate you, we entertain you, and we inform you.
That it's not political and it can do something.
As we sail the boat of Morning Cafe to enlighten you, entertain you, and inform you every Monday to Friday, only on TV47.
Woo. Construction can be quite a task, but how do you move from finding your piece of land, sourcing the right materials, getting the right labor force to put up your building? Or better yet, how do you source for a building that's already built?
Just a small size of land can suit just a big mansion it, because you are going high.
How do you ensure you get the right finishes to bring out the aesthetic value of your property and make it not only look good, but also feel good?
The buyers in this area are the buyers who are able to pay cash.
Well, we have it right here on The Realtor on TV47, where we demystify building right here in Kenya and analyze the property industry for you to take advantage when acquiring your next piece of property.
Every February, we hear men joking about going to a men's conference on Valentine's Day. We laugh about it, the lucky ones end up having a decent Valentine's Day, and we move on. But what we do not know is that men actually do meet up. Men do sit down and have conversations about things that affect their day-to-day life.
Let me ask, does money make the man?
Give them the gifts, shower them with everything you want to shower them with, but keep your money to yourself.
I, for one, have always been curious as to what goes on in a man's mind, specifically an alpha male's mind.
Adam, yule kwa Biblia anasema ni mtu wa kwanza duniani. Wewe unadhani kama angekuwa hana yale matunda, hana ile garden yake pale ya kukaa, angekuwa tu ni mdomo tu anamfuata Hawa. Oya, mimi ni Adam.
Welcome to the men's conference, where we make men alpha males. My name is Archie, the only female allowed at the conference.
My name is Monica Nyashira Njogona. I am a wife and a mother of 3, and I am a crochet ambassador. This began some years ago when I could not find a white-collar job. I had done a course in IT. I looked for jobs everywhere and I could not find one. So I had a lot of time in my hands, and I had an idea to do crochet.
So we have a WhatsApp group. There are about 3 WhatsApp groups. They are actually full. We've been sharing information, consulting, and just encouraging each other. But surprisingly, the challenges we've been experiencing are similar. So we just try to find a way.
Welcome back. Now, 2 suspects have been arrested in connection to the murder of Mombasa-based Dutch tycoon Herman Rowenhurst and his security guard Evans Bukoro on the 4th of June, that is earlier on this year. This is after forensic investigations placed 22-year-old Timothy Omondi Ngoe, alias Rashid, and 33-year-old Mary Nekesa Ambani at the scene of the murder in Shanzu, Mombasa. The slain Dutchman's wife, Riziki Cherono, is said to have recruited the 2 men when her husband notified her of his intentions of divorce. The suspects will be arraigned in court tomorrow to answer to the court charges. On to matters education, stakeholders in the early childhood development education are saying that pre-primary teachers have been left out by the Teachers Service Commission and the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development in training them on how to implement the competency-based curriculum. This has forced the pre-primary teachers to rely on private support to train them. Meanwhile, the stakeholders also want President Uhuru Kenyatta to allocate at least 10% of the education budget towards ECDE as a way of supporting pre-primary education ahead of the forthcoming Global Partnership on Education Summit set to take place this week in London.
The strength of a child's academic foundation is often traced to their early childhood development education teachers. And while the competency-based curriculum is taking shape in the country, a gap has been identified. The attention of training of teachers is on those in primary schools. The pre-primary teachers have been left to rely on private support to train them on how to implement the CBC.
The Teachers Service Commission, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, when they started rolling out competence-based curriculum, which started with the pre-primary school before even it went to primary, they are focusing more on primary school teachers to be inducted on how to implement the CPC. And the pre-primary school teachers have relied on private support, to train them. I think ideally, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development and the Ministry of Education should be able to support pre-primary school teachers to be inducted on how they can implement the competence-based curriculum so that they understand how best they can do that.
On Wednesday this week, President Uhuru Kenyatta will be among world leaders attending the Global Partnership on Education Summit that will be taking place in London. President Kenyatta will co-host the event alongside UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The conference, set to raise $5 billion, will enable children from vulnerable homes access education. And now, stakeholders in ECDE in the country are calling for the president to allocate at least 10% of the education budget towards ECDE, as this will give Kenyan children a head start.
Once we have that 10%, we also need to be asking the real questions. Is this 10% allocated efficiently and effectively the way it is supposed to be? Because it's one thing to have the money, but it's another thing for the money to do what it's supposed to do. Because if we just request for 10%, we will have the block. Then what do we do with the block? So the bigger challenge now, we go deeper. We dig deeper and request. We want these other factors to be considered. We are talking of free feeding programs in schools at the county level being a county function. So when we are requesting for the national budget, how much of the school feeding program are we asking for? That calls for us to know how many children attend ECD in those regions for you to be able to allocate.
We have around 92,000 pre-primary school teachers. And out of these 92,000, only 53% have been hired by the county government. And because of this, it means then 47% of these teachers are either hired by the parents or in the private sector to be able to support teaching the children. So in terms of funding, it is important if we can raise our funding to 10% of all education resources that have been allocated so that the county governments are able to hire teachers 100%. They are able to provide teaching learning materials, put up infrastructure that is age appropriate to these children, but also to be able to pay teachers their salaries.
We don't just need to shout about this money going to the education sector, but also ensuring that this money actually goes to pre-primary education or ECD, because that is a sector that has taken a huge beating.
At the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, over 1 billion learners were affected by the indefinite school closures globally. Countries with developed infrastructure and more internet penetration adapted online learning. However, for most countries in sub-Saharan Africa, learning during the school closures was left to the elite. Children from the most marginalized communities, including those with special needs and disabilities, displaced, including refugees, and girls, were at a higher risk of losing the gains that had been made in education. Amidst the pandemic, governments diverted funds meant for education to cope with the pandemic. The money raised through the GPE summit will enable 175 million girls and boys from 90 countries to access education. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
And away from that, tens of women, taxi drivers, and the county government of Wajir depend on a slaughterhouse that has 4 years, raised the debate on its working condition and the health hazard it might cause to the neighbors. Despite many single mothers depending on the remains of the animal products that are slaughtered in the site, waste disposal is still a reality that can never be denied. Isadin Haji tells a story of a slaughterhouse that sits between its value and environment pollution.
They wake up very early in the morning every day to seek survival under a pool of blood. Each one of them busy sourcing for a lifeline through the remains from the Wajir County slaughterhouse. These women, who are the sole breadwinners of their families, say this is where they have been depending on for more than a decade now.
All these women you see here feed their children through what they are doing. They source small income for their kids' survival.
Zainab Abdi walks out of this place with a container full of meat. She is a widow and forced to work hard to feed her children through a traditionally prepared meat that is common amongst the Somali population.
I have been doing this for 2.5 years. Now that my kids are orphaned, this is the only way for me to find for them food. I pay their school fees using this, and a day like yesterday, they went hungry.
Students from Wajir Livestock Training Institute who come here for learning. From this slaughterhouse, they practically inspect animals before they proceed for slaughter. It is the first college Wajir County has ever had to enroll students taking up such courses.
So we bring our students to the slaughterhouse to know how the meat is being inspected. What are the organs they are supposed to see, and what are if it is a parasite, which are parasite they're supposed to see on these meats that will make them to condemn the meat or to pass the meat to the hand to the human.
It is estimated that the county government of Wajir gets about 2.5 million Kenya shillings annually through taxes from this facility. This building you see behind me represents a compact of interdependency where a chain of beneficiaries topped by the county government see this place as a treasure. But the neighbors of this building too tell a different story and want it evacuated and closed down. The neighbors of the slaughterhouse find it difficult to survive in an environment excessively polluted by a foul smell emanating from the site. They say the county government is failing to manage the heap of waste produced every day in the slaughterhouse.
The first county government used to clean the waste properly. And after its exit, the current county government isn't bothered.
Hygiene has been concerned for many in the area and threats of animal-to-human transmitted diseases. I posed a question to the public health officer in charge of the site on why the waste disposal has been a problem for years.
And that is a smell that can be coming from any slaughterhouse. And by the way, slaughterhouse is not a mosque. Neither is it a personal house for living in. This is a place where animals are slaughtered, and such smells are expected, by the way.
The closure and relocation of this house has raised mixed reactions from the locals. They are faced with either sacrificing the women who depend on it or the health hazard at their disposal. Esadin Haji, TV47, Wajir County.
I have passed the hour, and that report brings us to our first breather. Don't go too far away, as we have a lot more lined up for you.
You are watching TV47.
Why crocodile inaweza tokea juu. Hiyo sijakula hata unataka nikufe kabla ni. I don't like it. I don't. Miss Kai na hipo ikitokelezea ivuruche simu yangu. No, ni sawa. Those who know me will tell you I'm not a lover of large volumes of water. But for you, we roam the different parts of the country and beyond just to make sure that we bring you the experience. We educate you, we entertain you, and we inform you.
That it's not political and it can do something.
As we sail the boat of Morning Cafe to enlighten you, entertain you, and inform you every Monday to Friday, only on TV47.
Woo. Construction can be quite a task, but how do you move from finding your piece of land, sourcing the right materials, getting the right labor force to put up your building? Or better yet, how do you source for a building that's already built?
Just a small size of land can suit just a big maisonette because you are going high.
How do you ensure you get the right finishes to bring out the aesthetic value of your property and make it not only look good, but also feel good?
The buyers in this area are the buyers who are able to pay cash.
Well, we have it right here on The Realtor on TV47, where we demystify building right here in Kenya and analyze the property industry for you to take advantage when acquiring your next piece of property.
Every February, we hear men joking about going to a men's conference on Valentine's Day. We laugh about it, the lucky ones end up having a decent Valentine's Day, and we move on. But what we do not know is that men actually do meet up. Men do sit down and have conversations about things that affect their day-to-day life.
Let me ask, does money make the man?
Give them the gifts, shower them with everything you want to shower them with, but keep your money to yourself.
I, for one, have always been curious as to what goes on in a man's mind, specifically an alpha male's mind.
Adam, yule kwa Biblia anasema ni mtu wa kwanza duniani. Wewe unadhani kama angekuwa hana yale matunda, hana ile garden yake pale ya kukaa, angekuwa tu ni mdomo tu anamfuata Hawa. Oya, mimi ni Adam.
Welcome to the men's conference, where we make men alpha males. My name is Archie, the only female allowed at the conference.
My name is Monica Nyashira Njogona. I am a wife and a mother of 3, and I am a crochet ambassador. This began some years ago when I could not find a white-collar job. I had done a course in IT. I looked for jobs everywhere and I could not find one. So I had a lot of time in my hands, and I had an idea to do crochet.
So we have a WhatsApp group. There are about 3 WhatsApp groups. They are actually full. We've been sharing information, consulting, and just encouraging each other. But surprisingly, the challenges we've been experiencing are similar. So we just try to find a way of managing our challenges. Then all of a sudden there's a challenge coming up, and that is organized by the Hazina Institute.
We realized that many people had lost.
Glad to have you back. The Department of Health in Baringo County has raised an alarm over the increase in cases of malnutrition in the area, especially Tayati constituency. Data released by the department says that at least 30% of children are underweight, while 26% are battling stunted growth. Head Coordinator of Nutrition in Baringo County, Ann Kimor, said that the figures in Tayati, Baringo South and Central have surpassed the World Health Standards of malnutrition that currently stand at 7%. The department, in collaboration with the World Food Programme, have planned to introduce biofortified crop with vitamin A orange fleshed sweet potato to improve the nutrient deficiency in women, children and adolescents.
Malnutrition rates in Baringo County, we have underweight, children being too thin compared to their age. We have 30%, stunting rates we have of 26%, and also global acute malnutrition being 7.9%. So as health, we have tried to tackle malnutrition based on immediate causes, but now we have underlying causes where one of the key underlying causes at the household level is food insecurity, inadequate food intake due to poor food production.
This orange flesh sweet potato contains nutrients that as I said, that is rich in vitamin A, and it can also be able to combat malnutrition in our county.
Elsewhere, the move by the government through the Ministry of Environment and Forestry to gazette Chetambe Hills in Bungoma County as government land has elicited a heated debate in the county. Political leaders coming out in a bid to find an amicable solution. Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula says he will lead in the collection of at least 400 signatures to oppose the planned eviction of residents from the more than 600-acre piece of land. Mike Kagwongo reports from Bungoma.
A few days ago, Environment CS Kiriako Tobiko published a gazette notice listing Chetambe Hills as public land under the Forestry Department. The move, however, did not sit well with residents as well as local leaders. Speaking at Nabuyole Falls in Webuye Town, Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula vowed to lead the collection of over 400 signatures to oppose the impending eviction of residents from over 600-acre piece of land.
So we shall, as a community and as a county, make every relevant legal step, including but not limited to what I've already done, writing to the minister, meeting the minister, and the area residents have already collected over 400 signatures that are going to be reduced into a petition that, as your senator, I'm going to present to the Senate so that the Senate can then, through the relevant Committee of Environment and Agriculture, invite the minister or summon the minister, as the case may be, to interrogate him, and the ultimate goal is that this Gazette notice must be rescinded and its content vacated altogether.
Chetambe Hills are located in Imihu and Divisi wards, and area MCA's alleged due process was not followed in listing the land as a public land.
Hapa nikiwa mmoja wao tuko na title deeds. Na hizi title deeds zilipewa kwa wale watu kama mimi nilinunua ndio, lakini wengi wa hapa ni wale wamezaliwa.
Tubeka akuje kwa bunge na aweze kujieleza. Why did he do this gazette notice without involving the people of Chetambe, and without even telling us there's so many institutions ambazo ziko hapa zinaenda wapi?
The Tachoni Eluya subtribe is the most affected, and their elders maintain that they were born here and they have title deeds to prove their rightful ownership of the land.
Tumeishi since 1860 to the current day. So far, juzi ndio nikaona Kenya Gazette inasoma ya kwamba mlima wa Chetambe umechukuliwa na serikali.
Ati mashamba imekuwa gazetted. Hatupingi. Lakini ukweli wa mambo ni nani alikaa na nani wakaongea ndio wakasema hii mashamba inakuwa gazetted ikue forest.
Senator Wetangula has however stated that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 demands public participation in such process.
Katiba ya zamani ilikuwa inasema tu serikali ikitaka kuchukua shamba, there must be prompt and adequate compensation. But now the new constitution says there must be public participation. And there has been no public participation, and even if there was, which we say there wasn't, this wananchi would have resisted an attempt to convert their ancestral lands with enormous historical and cultural significance.
For TV 47, from Bungoma, I'm Mike Kagwango.
Moving on, Moi International Airport Mombasa has received the first ever Lufthansa Group carrier commercial flight operated by Eurowings Discover, a new leisure airline within the Lufthansa Group. The flight, an Airbus A330 aircraft, touched down at the airport to a full welcome reception that included the traditional water cannon salute by the Kenya Airports Authority, fire brigade, and traditional welcome songs by Bombolulu Cultural Dance Group. Principal Secretary for Tourism Safina Kwekwe led a government delegation in welcoming the aircraft that was en route to the Indian Ocean island of Zanzibar. A total of 150 passengers disembarked from the aircraft, leaving 140 to proceed with the journey to Zanzibar.
We are happy that you chose Kenya to be your inaugural stop. I'm informed that this is a very, very fast inaugural flight, not just for Kenya, but as an airline. And we want to truly say thank you very much for giving us that honor to be the first among the first. Germany remains very key for us as a source market, prior and even during COVID. Last year, Germany was number 6 in terms of bringing us inbound traffic. And we believe now with Eurowings Discover, Germany will climb the ladder and hopefully be amongst the top 3, because this for us is an endeavor and an undertaking that we want to make everybody stay here in Kenya stress-free, rejuvenating, so that when they come and experience the magical experience of Kenya, they live here with memories and know that Kenya is home, should be their second home.
We are very thankful the resilience from the German market, the support from the German market to the destination, and we hope to see the airline prosper because this destination is ready to receive you. We are COVID prepared, and your visitors will definitely enjoy their stay here in Kenya.
As Kenya Airports Authority, we are extremely delighted with this development. It does do us a real great favor in terms of promoting our business, international business, and also promoting tourism not just in Kenya but also in the region. So mine is a very simple task to express our warm welcome to this Euro Discover flight, and to assure you that as an airport operator we shall do everything possible to make your operations smooth and trouble-free.
The name of the airline Discover will enable them to discover the beautiful, magical Kenya, as it is called. So I'm very happy to be here and to have been part of that flight, and this is testimony of of our good relations. And it's not only about tourism, it's also about economic relations. You know, German companies, they come to Kenya, they come to stay. And I think this is also not a one-dayer, you know. They have chosen to bring that airline to Mombasa, and I'm sure they'll be very successfully operating on that line.
Moving on, a majority of Kenyans feel that it is not in their place to buy laptops for members of parliament, which are now meant to ease their participation in virtual committee meetings and hybrid plenary sittings. However, lawmakers maintain that this is one of the implementations of COVID-19 protocols in parliament. Taxpayers will spend millions of shillings on acquisition of laptops to enable MPs participate in virtual meetings. If lawmakers approve a report tabled by the Departmental Committee on Library and Broadcasting, the taxpayer will cough well over 100 million shillings for purchase of laptops for the 350 lawmakers, assuming they get Apple MacBook Pros that cost as high as 300,000 shillings each. This is after the report reaffirmed that MPs preferred laptops to iPads for the virtual meetings. A nationwide survey conducted by One Pulse Kenya in the last couple of days revealed that 65% of Kenyans do not support that MPs should be furnished with laptops by the government, while 35% support this decision. This as 80% of Kenyans do not believe that COVID-19 is a valid reason enough for MPs to acquire high-end laptops, with 20% supporting the course. However, 83% stated that MPs should use their own laptops, while 17% felt that the government should supply them with some. The issue of free laptops for MPs follows recommendations by the National Assembly clerk-appointed team to explore all options available on a possible technology solution to conduct sittings in observance with the Ministry of Health protocols on containing COVID-19. Elsewhere, residents of Taveta sub-county are counting losses after the fences to their pieces of land were allegedly demolished by the county government of Taita Taveta past curfew hours. The residents say that the officers maintained that they were acting on behalf of powerful individuals claiming ownership of the land. The officials are said to have made away with the residents' building materials and will threaten anyone who tried to get in their way. The Muslim for Human Rights lobby group Muhore has condemned the demolitions, threatening to arrest the individuals if the county government fails to take action.
Nimeharibiwa mali yangu na wakati na karatasi zote. Hakuna karatasi sina. Amekuja kwanza huyu Jefferson akaja juzi akatoa stop order. Alipotoa stop order, tumekaa na hiyo stop order tunangojea kidogo, ndio huyo akaja aise nipateni hiyo stop order.
Na kulingana na wale witnesses ambao walishuhudia ile tendo likifanyika saa 5 usiku, ni lazima county government na national government zinashirikiana, kwa sababu gari ambalo lilitumika ni la county na maofisa wa inspectorate wa county walikuwepo. Hapa mali tumekaa, geti iko like 5 steps kutoka kwa geti ya DCC, na uhalifu hauwezi fanyika saa 5 usiku wasisikie.
Sasa sijui ni nani wakika kwenye ofisi huko tena wanageuza yale mazungumzo ambayo tulikuwa tumezungumza zile karatasi ambazo alikuwa anahitaji, kwa sababu alikuja na bwana mmoja tu Makala akapewa makaratasi yote. Hiyo siku ya 5 huyo bwana akaambiwa, bwana wewe ondoka zako uende.
On to the sports arena now.